guys, it's your girl Em, and I'm back with another video for you today. And today I'm doing a little bit of a mukbang. Now, I did the cooking video for this, so if you are interested in watching how I made this seafood bake, seafood boil, check out the description down below. I'll put the link there. And let's go ahead and get into this mukbang. I'm doing a seafood, I'm doing like a seafood boil. I baked it instead of boiling it. I mean, I boiled the potatoes and the corn and stuff, but I do a seafood bake. I'm going to try to do a seafood boil eventually. I just need to get a big enough pot. So I have some corn in here, red potatoes, there's lemon, I've got turkey sausage and shrimp, and I have a Diet Coke here, and I like to add lime to my Diet Coke. It tastes so good. If you haven't tried it before, you should definitely try it. It's like one of my favorite, like, guilty pleasures. And then I also made this little, like, sauce. I like dipping my sausage into it. It's mayonnaise with Dijon mustard, Old Bay, and parsley, and a little bit of lemon juice. You don't have to use this sauce. I just like using it on my potatoes and my sausage. So I have that. Let's go ahead and get this all ready to go. Put some lime in there. I love Diet Coke with lime. I just do. It's so delicious. Perfect. All right, let me say grace and we'll go ahead and get into this mukbang. Come, Lord Jesus, be our guest and let these gifts to us be blessed. Amen. All right, let's dive in. All right, I have a fork here, but I have a feeling I'm not gonna be using the fork a lot. Let's take some sausage. It's so good. Bonnery ate his. I haven't eaten mine yet. I've been trying to think of what we should talk about in this little mukbang. And I think I'm gonna talk about, like, I don't know. I don't know what I wanna talk about. I always think I know, and then I get in front of the camera, and then I don't know. I'm trying to think. You guys are gonna have to give me some mukbang topics. For sure. I wonder if I could do like a story time. What kind of story time could I do? Oh, this corn is so good. A story time about what? Let me think. I can't stop eating though. I'm so hungry, I've been eating all day. I guess I'm gonna talk about my childhood. I'm gonna talk about my childhood. My parents' divorce. I guess that could be interesting. My parents, they were together for like, I think overall together like 10 years, something like that. And they ended up getting divorced when I was like 6 years old. I was in first grade. And it was like a pretty big deal to everybody but me. Like, I really didn't understand it. I really didn't understand divorce. I'm like in first grade, so how am I supposed to really like comprehend the whole topic of divorce? I mean, it's such a big thing. So my parents got divorced when I was 6, and I remember she like wrote a note to my teacher, so like my teacher would know, and like so that they would like not necessarily like let me slide, but if like there were any like behavior issues, like that would be like why or whatever. And my mom also just like wanted to make sure my teacher was like aware of what was going on like at home. So my teacher was like super nice about it, like making a big deal about it, like gave me like a million hugs and was like, you're okay, it's gonna be okay, you can talk to me whenever you want. And I was just like, okay lady, like sure, because I didn't really understand it. I didn't understand how much my life is going to change, because I hadn't lived much. I mean, I was 6 years old, 6 or 7. I think it was like the beginning of my like, I think I was like going to turn 7 like in April, and it was like October, November. That's from how I remember it. But I know my parents like didn't come to that decision like overnight. Like I know it took like a lot of time for them to like decide to get divorced. At the end of the day, they really did it for my benefit. They wanted me to live in like 2 happy homes as opposed to like one home where they just didn't get along. Cause I feel like when I was little, I didn't notice how much tension was in my house. But then now that I'm like older and you kind of replay scenarios and situations, and then you're kind of like, oh, okay. I feel like, you know, I feel like there was some tension for sure. Like, I never heard my parents like scream and yell at each other. Like, I would hear them get into like little arguments, but never like crazy arguments. They must have kept that like to themselves. But they just couldn't get along. They had a lot of like different like disagreements about like money. And that's a big thing in a marriage, in a relationship, in a partnership. Money is a big thing. If one person feels like they should be spending a lot of money and the other person feels like they should be saving money, like it's a big deal. Like you kind of have to have the same like mindset when it comes to finances and like what you want. Like it can put a big strain on a marriage when you have, or just a relationship when you have differences in opinion on how the money should be managed. That can be like a big thing. And I know my parents struggled with that because my dad always wanted the newest, latest, best thing, and my mom like could care less. My mom just wanted us to be, you know, good. So I think that was part of it. I think my parents got together so late in their lives. Like my mom's mind was made up on how she wanted her life to be, and my dad's life was made up on how he wanted his life to be. and they just couldn't figure it out together, if that makes any sense. Like, my dad was pretty stuck in his ways and my mom was stuck in her ways, and they really got tired of compromising. And, you know, it was good for them to end the relationship and move forward, and, you know, without each other, and just co-parent me. Because at the end of the day, my parents, like, really didn't have a whole lot in common, and they didn't agree on much. But one thing they did agree on was that they wanted me to have a nice, normal life, and they wanted me to have anything I could possibly want or need. They wanted me to have a happy childhood, and I had a really happy childhood. Like, I have no complaints when it comes to my childhood. Now, my middle school years and my high school years, those were some rough years. Those were tough days. But elementary school, I had a really stable, normal life. When my parents got divorced, we couldn't live in the house anymore because my mom couldn't afford it by herself. So we had to move. And that really sucked. Because this middle school, like, I went to this elementary school. It was literally, like, so close to my house. And I was going to go to that middle school, like, right there. I was going to go to the middle school. It was literally right across the street from my house. Well, right across the street from my neighborhood. And so, like, in my head, like, I'm, like, sad because I'm I basically moved school districts. I don't know how my mom figured it out to make it so that I could continue going to Arlington. I think it's because I got picked up at a daycare that it, like, worked out. So, like, I didn't have to switch schools then in elementary school. But then when middle school came, I went to a totally different school. Like, only, I think, like, 2 or 3 kids from my elementary school went to that middle school. So I felt, like, really alone. Like, I had no friends. And that was really tough. Because elementary school, I had the same friends. They all, like, I don't know. They were all going to a different middle school. And it really sucked. And I knew they were going to a different middle school. Like, and it really set in, like, 4th and 5th grade, because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to middle school. But then you think, oh, I gotta go to a totally different one. And none of, like, I have no friends that are gonna be at that middle school. So that was really sucky. I ended up making friends, luckily, in middle school. It took a little bit, but I made friends. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was really hard. Like, it was really emotional because, like, the last day of elementary school, the last day of 5th grade, I was, like, in tears. So I was like, I'm never gonna see these people again. I'm never gonna see them. Like, these are my friends. Never gonna see them again. And honestly, for the most part, I did not ever see them again. Like crazily, I never saw most of them again. There was only, like, 2 people that I ever spent time with in elementary school that I saw again after that. It was pretty crazy. It was difficult. But life goes on. I made new friends in middle school. And then middle school, my middle school was, like, across the street from the high school that I went to. So, like, I was gonna have friends at high school. I wasn't worried about that. Everybody going to my middle school for the most part, unless they got, like, in trouble or whatever, or unless they moved, everybody was pretty much going to the same high school. And I'm really lucky too, like, that my mom was so adamant about my life being so stable. Like, she worked 2 jobs to make sure that I could like not have to move around, to make sure that I wasn't like in an apartment. And I'm not saying like anything is wrong with living in an apartment or a condo or anything like that when you're growing up. There is nothing wrong with that at all. But my mom like was dead set on me like living, like not having any differences. Like we moved into an arguably bigger house than what we had previously. Like my mom wanted my life to stay the same, and she did everything in her power to make sure it did stay the same for the most part. I went to the same daycare all throughout elementary school. I went, it was just a lot. Like my mom, like she really fought tooth and nail for me to like have a stable life when she was stable. But then she had her issues with alcoholism and stuff, and so my life became less stable. But we can have that conversation a different day. Oh my gosh, my battery's flashing at me. But anyways, my mom really like did her best to keep me grounded. And so like when my parents got divorced and when we moved, I went to my aunt's wedding in Washington, D.C. and I went with my dad, my stepmom, and my granny. And so it was like Halloween it was Halloween, and I went trick-or-treating with my best friends in my neighborhood. The next day, I was leaving for Washington, D.C. to go to my aunt's wedding. And then by the time I came back from my aunt's wedding on Sunday night, my mom had totally moved us into our new house. And I just didn't go home to my old house. It was kind of hard, it was kind of strange, but I was just like so excited. My mom had my room all the way set up, which was so cool of her. I don't think I've ever really like acknowledged how big that was of her. Like she really like, she did everything she could to like just make sure that I was comfortable always. Like if she was uncomfortable, I never knew it. If she was struggling with money, I never knew it. Like she really did everything she could. And that's why single mothers are literally superheroes. Single moms, you cannot tell me anything. Single moms get stuff done, and they do anything they can to make sure that their kids live good and happy lives. And I just want to say, give a huge shout out to all you single moms out there, because I see you. I know how hard you work. I know what you do to make sure that your kids have a roof over their heads, and make sure that they have their Christmas gifts, all their needs met. Like single moms, single fathers too. I'm not saying single fathers aren't. I'm not saying that, you know, any single parent, let's say it that way. Any single parent, y'all are amazing. And you deserve the world, because you give up so much to make sure that your kids have the world. And I think it's such an admirable thing, and it's such a tough job, and it's oftentimes a thankless job. And I just want to say that I think that you guys are the most amazing, the strongest, the most caring, most giving. I think you guys are incredible. You're superheroes. Single parents are superheroes. You cannot change my mind. You just can't. It's a fact. It's a fact. And I just want to let you guys know that I see you. And I love my mom, and that's why like I want to work so hard. And I mean, I take care of her now for the most part financially, but I want to be able to like buy her whatever she wants. Like I want to be able to buy her a house. My mom would never ask me for anything. Never. Would never ask me for anything. But that's why I want to give her everything, because she deserves it. And she really, really did everything she could to make sure I had a happy, healthy, and good life. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop this now, because my battery's blinking. I don't want to just cut off on me. I hope you guys enjoyed this mukbang story time. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Hope you guys enjoyed it still. Love you guys so much. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, let me know what you think. Give me mukbang topic ideas. Give me mukbang topic ideas, please and thank you. Be sure to follow my Twitter at @MAnMan and my Instagram at Midwest Mansfield. And I will see you guys in the next video. Mwah!